Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Perhaps I'll reverse protocol for a second today, and I'm going to first acknowledge Kenya's national staff present here. Madam Director General, Deputy Executive Director of UNEP, Ambassador Gutu, ambassadors, high commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. Kenya's national staff epitomize what this UN country team is all about. Every day, there are children being immunized in some of the most difficult parts, the hard-to-reach parts of Kenya. There are undernourished people that are being fed by the World Food Programme. UNICEF is at the forefront of ensuring no child dies because of a preventable disease. UNHCR is there working tirelessly in the Dadaab and Kakuma refugee camps just to make sure that dignity is available to all. My colleagues in Habitat, UNEP, UNESCO, UNIDO, every UN agency has a responsibility to deliver for the people of Kenya, because this is the compact that we've signed with the government of Kenya. But you do realize that our work cannot be completed without the valiance, without the commitment, without the professionalism and the missionary zeal that the Kenyan staff demonstrate under some of the most adverse and trying circumstances. So it really is, to me, a day that marks the success of the United Nations is a success because of its national staff. Not just in Kenya, but everywhere in the world. But Kenya is special because here, the UN country team has been recognized. The model of partnership that we have with the government has been given as a best practice by the UN Development Group. The relationship that the UN country team forges with its government counterparts, with its line ministries, is exemplary on all counts, because this is where the final difference is made. From 2014 to date, close to $167 million has been collectively brought in by the United Nations family to advance human development, to improve humanity in Kenya. But this doesn't happen without the firm and affirmative leadership that the government of Kenya provides. And this is where we feel truly privileged, that today we have programs that go into some of the most difficult, dangerous, unstable parts of Kenya. You just heard the DG of UNON mention the event of Mandera today, which is heartbreaking, but that only furthers our resolve to ensure that we win over the scourge of violent extremism through development, through rights, through equity, through inclusion. Because that is where the winning ticket item of violent extremism really lies. It does not lie in just a military and a security solution. It has to be a comprehensive solution. And this is where, again, the UN country team is working, where together with the President of Kenya, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia came together and signed a compact in Moyale. And it was a compact which demonstrated that 35 clans could actually come together, put aside their differences and say, enough is enough. This internecine violence is unacceptable. 2 UN country teams from Ethiopia and Kenya, 2 governments, the Ethiopian and the Kenyan governments, providing leadership, 2 regional authorities and civil societies on both sides right now are delivering a program which the UNDP administrator recently witnessed on the 25th of August. It is a program that could potentially be transformative. And Ambassador Gutu, I told Ambassador Amina Mohammed that this program has the potential, if we can succeed collectively, of getting a Nobel Peace Prize in the next 5 to 6 years. It's going to be a model that can potentially be replicated in other parts of the world too. I would want to focus on one particular issue, and that is gender. The UN launched the Africa Human Development Report, and that was about gender equality and women's empowerment. We want Kenya to be that shining example where women are emancipated from the drudgeries of female genital mutilation and child marriage, where women join the workforce, because that is where Kenya's economy is going to transform. We are at the cusp of what is termed as a demographic dividend. That is where Kenya is going to be turning the corner and really becoming a model for the rest of sub-Saharan Africa, to show that when we have women like Ambassador Amina Mohammed, CS Cicely Kariuki, our Minister of Defense, women that are there at the leadership forum, we need far more women to be there in the leadership platform. I make a fervent appeal once again to the members of Parliament of Kenya to please pass the two-thirds gender bill. This is very, very important. It's a constitutional requirement, and it is very important that we see that form of equity and equality really get into the DNA of the system. Keep in mind, the Africa Human Development Report also talked about that close to $95 billion of lost income as a result of inequality in sub-Saharan Africa alone. So let's all stand together and fight together on the issue of equality. There should be no space for inequality in today's day and age. We have the 3 Ps, what I would say, that have come together. We have a champion in the First Lady of Kenya and the President of Kenya on youth, on gender. We have a political will which is most unusual, where we've seen leadership in some of the most difficult parts of Kenya and leadership in driving the UN programs together with all our partners. Policy, at the policy level, the second P, we've seen some amazing policies in place, whether it's against institutionalizing the fight against FGM or ensuring that no one is left behind. Great policies in place. It is about ensuring that we collectively can ensure its implementation. And finally, this is perhaps the most perfect inflection point of where we've seen partnerships, not just of the UN together, but the UN with government, the UN with civil society, and most importantly, the vibrancy of the Kenyan private sector. So, as I said, Vision 2030 is very much achievable. The youth bulge in Kenya is a huge opportunity. Just to give you an example, when I talk of a youth bulge, the average age of a Kenyan is 19, the average age of a Swede is 46.1. The average age of a person from Singapore, South Korea, Japan is 50. This is the youthful population that will really be transforming the economy, not just of Kenya, but that of Africa. And we must take advantage of that. Finally, on the 30th of this month, we are standing, many of us are running the Stand Chart half marathon or the full marathon. I hope there are other keen volunteers here, and I can see Tege here too. Let's run for a purpose. We have our t-shirts ready, which is on the SDGs. Let's run for a purpose for making sure that no one is left behind, and let's run as a UN family to advance humanity, to advance gender equality, and advance the empowerment of youth of Kenya. Thank you.